which IQ has degraded itself backwards, and we have the least educated voting base of all time. We're not talking about 2020.
We're talking about Idiocracy.
Why come you don't have a tattoo?
Oh my God.
You're not unscannable, are you?
Oh my God.
Mike Judge's second live-action movie, right after Office Space.
Hello, Peter. What's happening? I'm gonna need you to go ahead and come in tomorrow. So if you could be here around 9, that would be great.
Big fans of King of the Hill, if you couldn't already tell.
Yeah.
Yep. We love The Office Space. Extract is a title that you like quite a bit.
Extract rules.
In general, Mike Judge hits really well at writing these subversive narratives that go against components of the average world, right? Whether it's commercialization, whether it's lack of belief in intelligence, whether it's the drudgery of the modern day working day.
And he does it in very simple stories. As far as its release goes, it shares a lot with Office Space, where both movies bombed. They weren't successful when they came out. It wasn't until years later, once it was released on DVD, that it started to get a kind of a cult following.
There have been several theories as to why it wasn't pushed more in its initial release. One of the theories is that Terry Crews in an interview said that he believed the limited release, and a lot of his co-stars believed, was because the fact that you're making fun of these brands like Costco, Starbucks, Gatorade, the list could go on and on with this movie, and Fox, protecting their own business interests, declined to actually push it further. There's also one of the few movies involving a Wilson brother in which you can say, like, wow, this was like a smart movie in a certain way.
Wow.
Also, I was distracted so many times just looking at Luke Wilson's beautiful eyes. I couldn't.
He's got some of the dreamiest eyes in the business.
I can't stop looking. I can't get into the story. I'm just looking at Luke Wilson's eyes. Story simple. Luke Wilson is, as according to his whatever military faction he's in, he's the most average worker out of all of them, and he volunteers hoping to wake up 1 year later. Instead, he wakes up like 500 years later, and he finds out that the world is run by idiots. The prologue is one of the best parts of the movie, I think, because it explains how this would happen. And
I got too many damn kids.
it's the whole thing where dumb people procreate a lot.
Yes,
you know,
more so than
dumb
the
people
average.
have like 10 kids, where smart people don't have kids.
It's even to the point where when Luke Wilson, with his average way of speaking, goes back in time, everyone's like super homophobic.
They confuse his intellectual speaking.
Please listen.
Something it's not just that the world in the future is run by dumb people. There's a surveillance state.
Yes,
is a big part of the problem here.
Think 1984, but like run by even dumber people.
Please pull over and wait for the police to incarcerate your...
There are things that don't make sense. I don't want to sound like an asshole because it's obvious, but how you got to have people who are smart enough to build trucks and machines and
Yeah, they went out on a limb and just tried to say that everything was like coasting off the technological advances of the past, but there are certain things where you do question, like there has to be somebody else with an average IQ out there.
They still have computers.
Yeah.
They can't be using computers that are 500 years old, you know?
Yeah, it is interesting they had a surveillance state that worked perfectly. Well, not perfectly, but a surveillance state that worked well enough. Not well enough to keep Luke Wilson from tricking his way out of going to prison, but, you know, fun and games.
Well, I think it's funny that Mike Judge connects a surveillance state with being dumb. That's the product of a dumb society.
Yeah, which is, you know, it's poignant in many ways.
Advertisements, huge in this world.
Yes.
There's this, even like a lampshade has like advertisements all around it.
Yeah.
It's just, you know.
The widespread commercialization in general and that world that they live in is poking fun at what we see today, but at the same time, like, woof.
Another product of a dumb society is how fucked justice is.
They have the automatic machine gun set up, and if something goes wrong, the guns just start firing, which is like, that's pretty America.
A longtime Mike Judge collaborator, Stephen Root,
Yeah.
plays the judge.
Yep.
Has the same voice as Buck Strickland.
Shut up now is what you're gonna do. God dang it, are those my pecan sandies? That was dinner.
Michael Bolton from Office Space
Yes.
is in it.
Maya Rudolph, totally forgot she was in this movie. But she does a nice job. Imply that she's some type of a prostitute in the present day. So when she goes in the future, she gets to have a much easier time with things because all she does is just tell these guys that she'll have sex with them in the future if they pay now.
It's been like 3 days.
Oh, yeah, soon, baby, soon. Hey, you know what? Why don't you come back tomorrow?
Both characters find ways to get out of situations by using dumbness. Like it reminded me a lot of. Have you ever seen The Invention of Lying?
Do not have sex with anyone unless you are married to them, is the rule.
President Terry Crews was hilarious.
Yes.
He was really just...
Shit! Hold on, Vato!
From a technical side, you can see it had a pretty low budget. The effects are not the greatest. They actually kind of look cheap. There's a few shots that are painfully blurry.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter in this movie. The movie's funny enough, and it's saying something powerful enough that none of that really matters. And it is a cameo fest. You got Justin Long.
Yeah.
Playing a doctor. Thomas Hayden Church plays the CEO of the the Gatorade. I don't want to get into spoilers, but part of Luke Wilson's his motivation is to get to a time machine so he can get back in time. But as I was watching it, I was there's no time machine. Like,
especially if the Dak Shepard character is the one vouching for it.
I'll base your ass on my fist. In your face, ass. Shut up.
I'm sorry, it's just...
Oh, a great shot. The effects aren't great, but the view of Costco.
Yeah.
In the distance, and it's just this endless, like it goes off into the distance. It's so big. Whenever you see a company that you know, it's kind of implying that these are companies that are already for dumb people, like Costco, Fox News. Is still Fox News. Like, that hasn't changed.
Fuddruckers has slowly become buttfuckers.
Well, because you see, like, it changing throughout the years.
One of the newer Mike Judge works that's pretty awesome, actually, just wrapped up, Silicon Valley.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was a pretty big hit on HBO for a minute there. I think that he does a really nice job at engrossing you in the world that he's built, right? You feel like you're in these characters' shoes at times. Like when you're watching Luke Wilson struggle to get through this, you're like, holy shit, this is stressful. Like imagine navigating a world filled with this many dumb people.
Yeah.
Like we kind of already do, but like at the same time. And then if you look at Office Space, you feel the pressure, right, of what the main character is feeling to try to get out of this gross 9 to 5. You want to see him break free. You feel that stress on his behalf. King of the Hill, you're in Arlen, Texas. You believe like it's hard to imagine other places exist. You're really locked into that. And then Silicon Valley captures that, but criticizing the tech industry and the startup culture and the whole like Steve Jobsy effect that was had on Silicon Valley, and it pokes a lot of fun at that too.
Mankind hath sought to make things smaller, but until now,
Well, Idiocracy's kind of a stands out because it's a lot. It's not about a job. It's about
a world.
It's bigger. It's a lot bigger than anything else he's done.
We don't even know where this world starts and ends. We just know the Costco is big as fuck, and that Starbucks is apparently a strip club now.
It's funny how much art digressed. Like the movies they watch are just nothing. Like there's no story. You have to assume there's no books because nobody wants to read anymore.
The monster truck gladiator ring was all I could have hoped it to be.
Yeah.
That was pretty fitting. I think it's a movie that will go down in like 10, 20 years. Maybe not as good, but think the idea of like a comedic like Soylent Green or something like that. Where like you are, you know, one of these first movies that really shows what it's like or what this could be like. Better Wilson brother, Luke Wilson or Owen Wilson?
Owen Wilson kind of annoys me. And Luke Wilson, I'm kind of lukewarm about.
Go fuck yourself.
I don't really like either.
Yeah.
They do what they do fine. Nothing special about either of them.
Except the eyes.
Except those eyes.